Good morning, Vietnam. I'm here to tell you about a dream I just had. I was taking an afternoon nap, and definitely one of the strangest lucid dreaming experiences I've had in my entire life. So it starts out with some incredibly vivid hypnagogia, which usually doesn't happen to me. I see like scenarios and kind of people and stuff behind my eyelids when I'm falling asleep. Just like everyone else does. But they're not vivid. They're not active. They're like photographs. And another thing, some people during hypnagogia, especially in states of like going into sleep paralysis or a state of like a wake-induced lucid dream, a lot of times they'll talk about hearing voices, which I don't really practice wake-induced lucid dreams. I'm kind of a beginner when it comes to this, so I know I have tried it. I'm still not too good at it, but well, anyways, yeah, I've never really experienced like voice. I have a few times, but at this point, I was hearing like, my mom calling me from the other room, which is strange, and yeah, I almost actually said back to her, but then I realized it's just hypnagogia. Or at one point, I actually fell into a dream, a non-lucid dream, where my mom was trying to hook me up with this girl. She did, yeah, she hooked me up with this girl in real life. I tried to go on a date with her. It didn't work out. My mom was trying to hook me up with her, and she got us movie tickets to Shrek 3, and it was weird. We were at like our old house, my childhood house. We sold it, so yeah, that was a little strange, but I didn't tip me off I was dreaming. I woke up from that, and I was like, oh, okay. And I was getting a lot of hypnagogic images, but like scenarios where I'd find myself in these sort of half dreams where I was walking around my house. And at one point I woke up from them. I was laying in bed and I was like, okay, next time I experience anything that isn't, just me laying in bed, I'm dreaming. So I remember that. I really try to get that into my subconscious. And it's kind of sitting there, and I get this one hypnagogic hallucination where my mom is in my bed. All of a sudden, my bed it goes from like a twin bed to like a queen's bed. She's laying on the other side of it, and she's facing me. She's crying and talking about all her issues. And at first, I didn't realize this was a dream until eventually, clicked to me. Obviously, like, hey, okay, I'm falling asleep right now. This is some sort of weird thing from obscure corner of my subconscious. I can't really tell you what, but that's not my job. My job's not to analyze this stuff. My job's to experience it. So it kind of fades away, and then everything kind of is going dark. At this point, I'm definitely falling asleep. It's not just hypnagogia at this point. At this point, it's pretty much a full-on dream. I'd say it's about 80% dream, but I could still feel my physical body at this point. So I guess it is still sort of hypnagogia. Well, anyways, it's dark, and I feel now, besides my physical body, I also have a dream body. I start moving it. I'm laying down. I'm moving my hands. I look at them, and they're like this kind of glowing light. It's like they're kind of transparent. They're only one color. It's like they're holograms almost, sort of. And I get up and I'm kind of trying to walk around in this black void. I could still feel my physical body though. I was sleeping on my right side. I could feel the pillow pushing against the right side of my head. While I was walking around, I could kind of feel this all over my body, but mainly my head. And then I looked at my hands, and I do the classic reality check where you push the finger through the palm. And you do this because if it goes through the palm, you either have a hole in your hand or you're dreaming. And most people don't have holes in their hands, so usually you're dreaming. Anyways, yeah, this happens. And and I remember thinking like, okay, I'm moving my dream body right now, but I don't know if I'm necessarily in REM. I don't know if my body's paralyzed. So I think, okay, is my body in bed doing this too? Because I feel it really strongly, and it kind of does feel like my physical body is doing this. So I wonder that, and all of a sudden I find myself laying in bed, and for a second I'm like, oh crap, I woke up. until I looked down and realized my finger's still going through my palm. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm dreaming. And I was sitting up in bed, kind of like I am now, except I think I was on the other side of the bed, and my laptop was right here. I was watching a documentary about this cult. It was made out of news clips mainly, and I was kind of half listening to that, but I wasn't really too intrigued. I was more interested in the fact I was dreaming. And I look in the laptop, and all of a sudden it becomes my reflection, kind of like right now. But it was a lot of clear. It was more like looking into just a straight mirror. And I was like, oh, my reflection's here. This is great. Now I can build my dream body, and I can be here more presently. I start trying to do that, but as I do that, my face gets incredibly distorted, like a funhouse mirror, like some sort of, shitty Snapchat lens that, makes your eyes bug out, like, this far, and then makes your mouth, and then all of a sudden your mouth is, like, huge, and, you know what I'm talking about. So that was happening, and I remember thinking, like, wow, dream mirrors are really funny. Which is kind of odd because I've never had an experience like that with mirrors and dreams. I haven't really had any. I've had a few times where I've like glimpsed into a mirror in lucid dreams that I can think of, and they just look normal. But I guess I wasn't really staring into them, or I wasn't trying to interact with the mirror. So maybe me interacting with the mirror distorted my face. I don't know. I don't have the answers to these questions. But that was strange, And but something even stranger happens at this point. I was still listening to the documentary. I wasn't listening, but the documentary was still going on. And all of a sudden, the documentary turns to this really loud static, and my reflection, my whole laptop screen just goes black, just completely black, and then everything goes black. And I'm in this void. It's like my body disappears. I am this void. But the static is still going on. I feel the static. I wonder, oh, is that the end of the dream? Am I going to wake up now? But then I was like, no, this isn't the end of the dream. This is just another part of it. And I start to listen to the voice of this documentary narrator. And he starts talking about aliens. He talks about how aliens are trying to colonize Earth, and how they rode here on a comet. And then before my eyes, well, I guess that implies that I had eyes at this point, but, my body forms, and so does this landscape of this comet. And there's these aliens. They have, like, bluish-grayish skin and white hair. They look like the aliens from, what is it? It was, like the first, it was a book about time travel. They turned it into a movie. I think it was one of the first time travel stories ever. It was just called The Time Machine, I think. Yeah, it was the one where he sits in the chair. There's that wheel behind him. He goes into the future and like finds like future humans, and they have the blue skin and stuff. Yeah, that's what these aliens looked like. They were on this comet, and they were like mining on it. I remember they had like hazmat suits. It's like almost like they were kind of primitive in a way, because normally you wouldn't think they would ride a comet. Well, anyways, I was there, and I was walking along this comet. I remember walking over a hill, and I was still listening to the narrator describing this stuff. And all of a sudden, I see the narrator, and well, first I noticed in the horizon, my grandmother's house is there, and the narrator is standing up front. And the narrator is Josh from Drake and Josh. So Josh from Drake and Josh is making this documentary. All of a sudden, he's in the documentary. I'm in the documentary. The documentary is my entire dream. And at this point, I almost forgot I was in a dream. But then I see my grandma's house. I'm like, oh, yeah, duh, this is still a dream. So I'm walking, and he's like a tour guide now. He's giving me a tour of my grandma's house. I didn't realize it was my grandma's house. I was just going along with it at this point. And I follow him to the basement. I follow him to the room that I have there. And I was following him. And at this point, I was like, you know what? I want to make sure. I just want to double check I'm in a dream. I'm going to count my fingers. So I count them. I have a 6 finger. Well, first I'm confused. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because in a dream when you count your fingers, you usually have some extra or a few missing, and it was 5. But then all of a sudden, a 6th one just comes out from. It was like an extra pinky came out from my an extra pinky comes out from here. I'm like, oh, there it is. And there's all these extra fingers, and I realize I can like do this, I can cross them, and I have all these extra fingers I'm crossing, and then making all these weird patterns. And then like I have this one middle finger in there, and I realize I can make it rise. Like I don't want to flip you guys off, but it like rises and then it sinks. I can control it. And I was really amused by this. And then Josh, the documentary, also had curly hair for some, like really curly hair, kind of gray. Looked at my dad's hair. He was laying in bed, in my bed, and I was trying to show it to him. I was like, hey, look at this. Look what I can do. And he just looks up and he's like, oh, yeah, you just did it twice, which I don't know what that means. He's like, yeah, I'll Google how you did it. So he just looks at his phone and I'm like, no, dude, look, this is really strange. This is physically impossible. You should be amazed by this. And he just won't even pay attention to me. He's just looking at his phone. And I'm like, ah, fuck you, Josh. So I pulled a blanket out from under him. And he falls on the floor and just disappears. At this point, I felt bad. Because Stephen LaBerge's book talking about conflict, or exploring the world of lucid dreaming, he talks about conflict in dreams and how you could do something to the person you're having conflict with, or you can project something onto them and change something from on yourself. And he talks about how that's more beneficial, and making him disappear like that. And I was like, shit, I should have done something to better understand him. I should have gone. I was trying to manifest him again. He was gone at this point. And I remember even shouting out, like, I was just doing it twice. Like, I was trying to tell him, like, hey, you were right, I'm sorry. Sorry I made you disappear. I felt bad, I felt like I just killed this guy. Even though, it was me, I guess. But, yeah, so that happened. And everything went dark again. And I felt like I had woken up. Even for a second, I feel like I vaguely remember being awake in bed for, like, a single second. But then all of a sudden, I wasn't in my dream anymore. So, I don't know if any of you have seen this, but there's a show on Amazon Prime called Undone. Great show, I recommend you watch it. Kind of has a similar like animation style to Waking Life, which is a great movie about lucid dreaming, and A Scanner Darkly, which is another movie about altered states of consciousness. Dream Corp LLC about lucid dreaming. I know it's all the media that has this animation style is about some sort of altered state of consciousness. And this isn't different. Undone is about like I don't know how to describe it without spoiling it. Just watch it, okay? Bob Odenkirk's in it. It's great. But yeah, it's a dream that the main actress was having, and I was like a camera in this. I had forgotten I existed. I'd forgotten all notion for myself. In fact, I began to really identify with this woman. I kind of felt like I was her in a way. And I guess in a sense I was. She was just a part of my subconscious. I was watching her. She walks out of her house and she meets up with this older guy she was going on a date with. He was wearing like a t-shirt and like this jacket. I remember the most notable characteristic was he had a huge hole in his stomach. It was like the Looney Tunes, except it was actually bleeding. And she starts freaking out, and she felt bad for it. And she says, I'm sorry, this is all because I gave you the super alligator dog for your birthday. I don't know. But, yeah, I guess this super alligator dog bit a hole through his stomach. She felt awful about it, She was on the verge of tears. Then he was just like, whatever, I don't care. I guess this was a while ago. I guess he's moved on from having a hole in his stomach. Which is weird, because normally you just die from that. But, yeah, so that was odd, like a lot of things. I'm going to say that. I've said that a lot in this video, haven't I? That it was odd. Well, anyways, at this point, she's like, something's wrong. And she's like, hey, am I dreaming? And the guy just turns to her and is just like, no. And he comes up with some explanation. He's like, all right, we're going to be late for dinner. Then all of a sudden, she's at dinner. She's at this restaurant. She's wearing different clothes. Before she was wearing like a black jacket, like a black coat, I remember it was around Christmas time in this. First she was wearing like a black coat, and then it was like a red coat. And she looked, all of a sudden she was just there in a flash. It was like an editing cut. She was just there in the restaurant. And her boyfriend changed. He was a different guy. He was a lot younger. He had a lot nicer clothes. He didn't have a hole in his stomach. And I remember it was a very like prestigious restaurant. His whole family was there. They all looked super rich. And she was confused as fuck. She was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Or she didn't say that. What she said was, "How did we just get here all the way on the other side of the universe?" Which is strange because she just got from her house to a restaurant. You know, universe is a lot bigger than that. But anyway, she was asking her boyfriend this. Didn't even notice her boyfriend had changed. And okay, the boyfriend turns to her and says, "It's okay. Our people have dealt with this for so long. After all, we're Korean." I forgot to mention this, but he's white and his whole family is white, and the woman is Hispanic. So I don't know what that means. He said we're Korean, okay? And that was obviously a joke because he starts bursting into laughter. His whole family does. Even I, the disembodied camera, starts laughing at this. Here's the thing. With jokes in dreams, like, they never make sense from a logical perspective, but when they're in the dream, they're the funniest thing ever. And even when you're out of the dream, you know, when you remember them, they're still really funny to you, but you don't know why they're funny. Like, there's no, like, we're Korean. What's the joke? What's the punchline? What's the setup? There is none. But it's so funny to me because it's fucking ridiculous. He wasn't Korean. He was some white guy. Yeah, he looked like he was in fucking One Direction or something. So, yeah, that happens, and everyone's laughing, and it starts to fade to black, and the Hispanic lady, she looks confused, but she's kind of laughing at this point, too. I remember watching her. It's like I identified with her, and I kind of felt like I was her, but I felt like I was different from her, too, because I remember I was very aware of the fact this is a dream. I kept thinking, when is she going to realize this is a dream? But, you know, everyone was laughing at this point. It starts fading to black. And for the first time in this stream, I feel a sense of self, because in this darkness, I realize I'm laughing. And I don't really have a body, I just am this laughter, this force of laughter, and I feel it. And I'm kind of thinking about it too. I'm like, oh, this is what it's like to laugh. This is my laughter. The strange thing was, it wasn't my laughter. It was a woman's laughter I was laughing. So that was odd. I remember specifically thinking, this is my inner laughter. This is the part of me that laughs at things. It's a woman. Which, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. But, yeah, that was, I don't know, it was weird because at this point, I had no sense of identity, really. I didn't know I was this person. You know, I was someone else. I was just pure laughter. And, there's something strangely beautiful about it. And I've never had a lucid dream. There's actually, you know, the time where it was the point with the static and the laughter. I was just in this void, which is something I've actually wanted to experience in a lucid dream for a while now, but I haven't. And it was definitely interesting. It was something I'm going to try to pursue in my next lucid dream, because that was it was a profound experience, you know, if I want to sound pretentious. But I don't know. Dreams are fucking weird. I'll see you guys next time.